I think the sorry, the CV guideline has already been uploaded on GitHub, so you can also follow that here. So when we're talking about CV, so CV is just really curriculum vitae, and it's basically a document that lists all of your previous accomplishments, your research experience, your past appointments, your publication records. And you will probably gonna need this at all stages of your career. For example, when you're applying for graduate programs, when you're applying for research internships, when you're applying, and even after you have a PhD degree, when you're applying for jobs, even in the industry, we are writing proposals, people will ask you for a CV. And you should have a CV sitting somewhere on your desk and well prepared. So CV is somewhat different from resume. So resume is a very short and condensed version of a CV, which usually only takes like one page. And in academics, CV is more common. And so that's basically the focus of our topic today. So what goes into CV? Like some common categories like your education background. For example, where did you get your undergraduate degree? Where did you get your PhD degree? Research experience. So this will be very useful if you're applying for some research-oriented jobs. So honors and awards, publications, and don't worry if you don't have any so far. And also if there are any conferences you attended, whether you presented any posters or talks from there, whether you have done any outreach work. So for a lot of applications, especially at earlier career stage, coursework, your GPA is also very important. So make sure you list them as well. Sometimes we also list our technical skills. For example, like which software or which programming language have been exposed to, something like that. And there are also other optional categories. For example, if you have any particular research interests, and if you have done any observing before, if you have used any HPCs, high performance computing before. So sometimes if the institute is specifically looking for candidates that have those kind of experience, you might also want to highlight those. Languages, extracurriculums, your references, and also news and media. And there are also some categories that don't belong, so you can give it a read. Okay, I guess if most of you are at very earlier career stage and interested in applying for your next summer research project or grad school, research experience is probably one of the most important section in your CV, right? So for research experience, make sure that you clearly state your position title, your institution, name your advisor. The goal of the research is also very important because every compact small project comes with a goal. And also make sure that you highlight if there's any final output, whether it's a report, if it's a conference proceeding, or it's a poster, or it's a presentation, something to prove that you're able to complete all of the project and make a great presentation. And meanwhile, you also want to highlight the skills that you have used and developed. And I know some of the employers, when they look at people's CV, they might want specifically look for some of the skill sets. For example, if they are looking for people that are very good at programming, or they want to hire someone that can develop the software, if you can highlight some of those skills, then you have a better chance in getting into the pool. So there's also some tips about how to make a good CV. I don't know like these are true, but like I'm just gonna go through them anyway. So first of all, I think after today, we're gonna commence you or encourage you to have a CV overleaf written as a LaTeX template. So remember, CV is an evolving document. So whenever you have some ideas on what you want to put in the CV, you can always go to that document and write it down. Even if it's not in the final polished version, it's fine. Um, the reason to do this is that because if you only update your CV when you're applying for jobs, then it's very easy to forget all the little nitty-gritty details that happen in your life. So it's always a good idea to keep your CV constantly updated. When you have an idea, write it down. And also, it's also a good idea to look at other people's CV to find some inspirations. So you might want to check out some of your favorite professors' personal websites. And their personal websites is usually the place they will upload their CV. So you can take a look from there. And you can find some inspirations and learn from their styles and create your own styles. And also the CV in general is we have really in the academia at least we have really different expectations for CV at different career stage. For undergraduate, we if you're applying for a research program or graduate school, we require all these basic information as well as some demonstration of the research experience, right? And if you're a graduate student applying for entry level postdocs or industry job, we're looking for publications, or we're looking for all of these plus publications. And postdoc is just more and more publications and some evidence of independent research. And the more advanced in your career stage, the more that they are expecting you to have. Like for example, for faculty, people are also looking for if you have experience for student advisory. Have you have any experience on grant application, proposals? Have you served on any committee? Have you done any outreach? And what are your management skills? Things like that. Okay. So the next advice is put your best accomplishments at the top. So it's very easy to write a super long CV, like maybe 3 or 4 pages or even longer than that. And employers, when they're looking at potentially hundreds of applicants, their CVs, they might not have enough time to carefully go through your CV line by line. So make sure that you highlight the most important messages, put the most important messages at the prominent places. For example, if you have a stellar publication record, so at the beginning of your publication list, you can say, okay, I have authored X number of first author paper. I've co-authored Y number of papers. My H index is this number, something like that. And if you're applying for example, an institute that is looking for observers, and you happen to have a lot of observing experience, then at the beginning of the observing experience, you can highlight, say, okay, I have observed with X number of nights and Y number of hours, something like that. And yeah, so put your best accomplishments at the top and make it prominent. And another advice is that I would also appreciate that the applicants would, customize the CV for each of their application. So I know this is a lot of work, and sometimes I don't even do this. But just imagine that if an institute, for example, they are specifically looking for an observer, then if your CV is specifically tailored to that skill that they're looking for, you can imagine that can add a lot of points in our applications. And also, if, for example, if they're specifically looking for someone that's very good at running simulations, running models, if you have applied this number of supercomputing time, you have run this kind of models before, you can definitely highlight those experience and tailor your CV to each of the application, to each of your institute that you're applying for. And also try to seek feedback. After you have a draft ready, ask your friends, ask your advisor, your mentor, get as many people as possible to review your essays. So I would personally think CV is also part of your research application material, is also part of the essay, including your statements, cover letters, your personal websites. So definitely listen to seek advice from other people. And finally, if like after today, if you go through a lot of people like your favorite professors' personal websites or CV, and you feel you're quite stressed about the experience, like they all have really stellar experience or whatsoever, don't be stressed. Remember that CV is not everything. It's only a document that detailed documents all of their previous accomplishments, and they surely have failures. They surely have setbacks, and everyone is different and unique. And it's okay to have setbacks. It's okay to take a non-traditional routes. I know a lot of people who take non-traditional routes, and eventually they also reach their goal. So yeah, definitely keep this in mind. So next, I think I'm just gonna pull out Overleaf and quickly demonstrate how to create your CV, a template for a CV. So the platform we're using is called Overleaf. So this is basically, you can imagine this is like a Google Doc, like an online document sharing system for LaTeX. So if you go to Overleaf, this link, and create account, okay, am I sharing? Okay, I think I'm sharing. Uh, yeah, and if you don't have account, I highly recommend you just to register one. Um, the free version is pretty much usable, so you don't have to pay anything for it. And then after you're in this interface, you can just click the new project, and under the section templates, you can find there is one called Resume CV, and just click that. The Overleaf has already curated a gallery of resume and CV templates, and you can just go through most of them and find one uh, uh, that you feel is more aesthetically pleasing. Maybe this one. Okay, let's try out this one. So once you click this, and you can click this open as template, and then it will open this template and also save this template as one of your project. So if I go back again to the Overleaf website, you can see this project has saved in my personal list of projects. So I can also just oops. Sorry, my screen is a little bit busy, so I'm just trying to moving things around. Okay, so you can just click this and get into the project and rename this however you want, like my CV, something like that. And you can also upload materials to your personal folders here on the left. So the basic structure of a Overleaf or LaTeX template is something like this. So first of all, it defines some basic information about this document, and then all the main information is under this begin document environment. So you can see that for this particular template, it have multiple sections. So the first section is education. The next is career objective, and then is projects, technical strength, so on and so forth. So for example, if I want to change something here, okay, let me try to highlight this. Okay, so if I want to try to highlight, change some info, change the education content here. So what we would do is we modify the content inside the education. And then after modification, if we hit recompile here, and then I think the new content will automatically be refreshed in this part of the document. So here, for example, I didn't went to this school, so went to, for example, the University of Sydney, and then I hit recompile. Then you can see the text can be changed as such. So also, if you want to add or more lines, you can just follow this similar syntax and add more and more contents. Say, for example, if I want to add another experience, say this bit, so I just copy and paste it here and say, okay, if I went to University of Hawaii, they'll just say University of Hawaii here and hit recompile. And then you can see the University of Hawaii appear as the third education list here. So I think writing in LaTeX has a lot of tricks, and it might seem very difficult to write in LaTeX as a beginner. So whenever you have a problem, make sure that just Google it. And I think the Overleaf official website has a lot of useful suggestions on how to create your own document. For example, if I want to say, I want to create a table, then you just Google Overleaf create table, and then you can see that from Overleaf, there is a very extensive tutorials teaching you how to make those things happen.
Register now on bit.
All right, that was the presentation for making your own CV. Does anyone have a question? References, yes. So by reference, people often mean two things. First of all, is someone that you know, maybe your teacher or advisor that know you pretty well and can say a few things about you. You can leave their contact information in your CV, maybe their phone number or email address. What would you put as a high schooler? Well, of course, you can put your education, courses you have taken, any activities you're part of, uh, have you been a part of a science club or something like that? Something like this program would come in experience or extra curriculum. I think it would belong to experience better, I think. But it's up to you. Well, both categories could fit. One from previous assignment. Maybe let's leave that to Discord. CAD experience. Yeah, you can include it in skills. Career objective summary is also something some say to put. Yes, you can put those in. Don't put, half a page of, text. Usually 1 or 2 sentences would do. What is the maximum number of pages before, it might disinterest people? For CV, I don't think there is a upper limit, but as presentation says, you should put the most important information in the front. So maybe, the most important information, including your education, your research experience, course that you've taken in the first 2 pages, and you can put, less important information in the back. Yeah, is workshop like this, can workshop like this be included in a CV? Definitely. Okay, everyone. So let's maybe move on to the last topic today, which is making your personal website. And I'll present this section myself. So before we talk about how to make a personal website, let's first of all motivate you why you need a personal website or research website in the first place. So a website is usually an easy way for your fellow researchers or your future employers to learn more about yourself or your research. In the form of websites, you can be more interactive than a CV. You can include videos, plots, background stories about your research or your life story. And usually you can be more colloquial in your website, meaning that you can use more informal language compared to any publication may have in an academic journal. And website by doing this way, your website can appeal to a broader audience. Your personal website is also a way to do outreach or find collaboration. Believe it or not, people often Google things they're interested in online, and sometimes they can stumble on your website if they are doing certain type of research. I'm sure many of you found out about Intro2Astro by doing Googling. So if you have some sort of online presence, then people interested in what you do can find you that way. So what includes in a personal research website? First of all, definitely a clear picture of yourself so that, when people run into you during conferences or doing interviews, they know who they're talking to. You should put some basic contact information there, your email, your mailing address, your office location, if you have an office. Your CV, you can usually upload your CV to a website and, people can download those. Sometimes a brief, autobiography could help. You can explain how you developed the passion for science or for astronomy in this case. And you can showcase your life outside research, what kind of hobbies you have to make yourself more relatable. As you progress further in your career, you start to have publications, and you can make a list of publications and research highlights and put it in your personal website. Any recordings of your talks, it'd be nice to showcase your ability to do public talks. And you can further link your research profiles, for some example, are Google Scholar or, ResearchGate. So there are a few other items I included here, that you can consider putting into your personal website. Don't worry if, some of these categories, you don't have any items in some of these categories, it's fine. Okay, so how to build a personal website? So mainly there are two options. First of all, there are quite a number of websites out there that help you build a website, and they can often provide a domain to host your website. Some of these do require a small subscription fee every month, but some are free. So for example, GitHub, I'm sure at this point you're pretty familiar with GitHub. GitHub usually hosts your website for free. And personally, I have a website on GitHub myself. So the other option is more involved. This is usually, making your own website with HTML file. By editing HTML file, you can make your website much more flexible. And it's actually easier than you think. All you have to do is to download a very good template. I provided one website here for a list of templates. And you can just, replace text or pictures in that template, and your own information will show up. Right. So once you build a website, you usually need a domain and a hosting service. You can ask your school if they can host your website on the department website. They usually do because, unless your website is, very heavy in data, they really accommodate that. Okay, so let me maybe showcase my own website to orient you and give you an example what a website may look like. So this is my personal research website. Start with a picture of myself, my current position, and a very simple welcome note saying who I am, what kind of research I'm interested in. And usually people put their CV here at the very beginning. If you click it, you're linked to the CV and you can download it. So since this is mostly a research website, I highlighted some of my recent research findings, and make them into subpages. So you can click into those pages and sometimes, even embed YouTube videos here for some simulation to illustrate this research you're doing. Usually, people include a lot of pictures or videos on a website like this because, honestly, people don't have time to read all that much text here, and videos and plots can transmit more information in a short amount of time. So usually we include a return button here so that we can return to the home page. So I wouldn't bore you with all the research highlights here, but something else you can include is, a list of publications that you have, number of citations, and even link it to maybe Google Scholar for the most up-to-date list of publications. Since I'm a professor now, I actually have a whole group of students working with me. You can highlight them here. For your case, you can highlight your, advisors. People can, provide a reference for you here. Outreach or community service could be important. I have Intro2Astro here and some public talks made here too. If you're willing to share more, you can, put a brief autobiography here, where you're from, how you developed interest in science, things like that. And quite importantly, you always want to include some contact information so that people who are interested in your research can, get in touch with you. And by the way, all these are, based on a simple HTML template. So later in the assignment for this week, we will ask you to find your favorite template and start editing for your own website. So you can browse, a lot of template here.